Told you guys I was going to be on here day number 1 with this release. I let y'all know when I finished Demon Slayer Season 1, when I did my review, when I saw the trailer for Mugen Train. I told y'all I was going to be up in here, so that's what y'all getting ready to see. Now, real quick, before I get started, though, I want to give y'all a very brief reminder that if you have a request for a film you would like for me to review right here on OAW Entertainment, become a patron at patreon.com/OAW and select that blockbuster tier. In addition to your request for the film reviewed of your choice, you also get access to our Patreon exclusive content. You get access to the OAW Vault, which is the collection of the first 2 seasons of Otaku Assemble Weekly, the anime and manga review web series that kicked off the channel. You also get access to the OAW Discord server that is now up and running, and you get a invite to join in on the live monthly Q&A held right here on the OAW YouTube channel, as well as the OAW Facebook page and Twitch channel. So once again, patreon.com/OAW and select that blockbuster tier. And with that being said, this is my review of Demon Slayer Mugen Train. So let's get into it.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Greetings to everyone watching live and everyone watching after the fact. Shout out to the faithful and salute to the patrons. This is Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, here to bring you all another movie review, a new movie review. For those of you all who might not have yet to see it or who might just be getting around to it, yes, Demon Slayer Mugen Train has finally dropped. It's finally been released in theaters stateside. I know it was released, I think, back in October in Japan, but it finally made it stateside. So for us American and Western anime audiences, we finally got a chance to check it out. So what I'm going to be doing tonight, as I do with pretty much most of my movie reviews, first half of this review is going to be spoiler free, just in case you guys have not had a chance yet to check out the film. So I'll be doing the first portion spoiler free. Then the second portion is when I'll get into some spoilers and whatnot. Now, however, I do want to throw this out there. In the non-spoiler portion of this review, I will discuss spoilers for season 1 of the anime. So if you haven't seen the anime at all, what you waiting for? I mean, it's been on Netflix for a few months now. Like go check it out. Hit up Netflix. I think it's also on Hulu, and I think it's on Crunchyroll too. What you waiting for? Go check that out. Then check out the film, because that's the cool thing about Mugen Train is this is not a filler film. Like, this actually is the next story arc in the anime, right? So then go check out the film, right? And then come back to this review. So make sure you add this to watch later. You know, put in the playlist. You know, keep it. Save it to your account, and then come back to it if you haven't had a chance to, all right? Groovy? Cool? All right, but we are going to get started with the non-spoiler portion. So again, starting off with non-spoilers, which would include spoilers for season 1 of the anime, but it won't include spoilers for the film. And then after that, then we'll get into spoilers for the film. Everybody cool? All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's jump into this. Oh, one final thing. I do want to let you guys know, I do got a heart out here. Can't stay too long, but if you want to make sure any of your questions or comments get answered before the end of tonight's stream, you can always leave a super chat, and I will make sure to address those before the end of tonight's broadcast. You can also support the channel via Cash App and PayPal. Link to all of those are in the description box below. All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing started. And as always, you can read along with your boy by clicking in that description box below. So this is my review of the 2020 Japanese anime film, Demon Slayer Mugen Train, based on the shōnen manga series Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba by Koyoharu Gotouge. And this film, or the film, which is a direct sequel to the 2019 anime adaptation series, was produced by Ufotable and directed by Haruo Sotozaki. And a synopsis of Demon Slayer Mugen Train. Mugen Train continues Tanjiro I'm sorry, read that too fast. Tanjiro Kamado's journey as a demon slayer after his family is brutally murdered and his sister is turned into a demon. The film opens as Tanjiro and his comrades have completed their rehabilitation training at the Butterfly Mansion, and they arrive at their next mission on the Mugen Train, where over 40 people have disappeared in a very short span of time. Tanjiro and Nezuko, along with Zenitsu and Inosuke, join one of the most powerful swordsmen of the Demon Slayer Corps, Hashira Kyojuro Rengoku, to face the demon aboard the Mugen Train on track to despair. Sorry for that reading, because the print is really small in that description box. Next time, I will make sure to blow it up so that I can read it better. Anyway, so that is a very brief synopsis of the setup for the story of Mugen Train. But essentially, this is, and this is kind of funny too, because I actually did read about this on the Wikipedia page. This is actually the seventh arc in the Demon Slayer manga series, right? So we're 7 arcs in, and as I mentioned before, the film picks up exactly right where season 1 lets off. And on the next assignment for Tanjiro and his crew, pretty much their assignment is to provide backup and support for the Flame Hashira Rengoku, who is one of, for you guys familiar with the series, the Hashira are the top. They are the captains of the Demon Slayer Corps. Think of them much like the squad captains in Bleach, right? Almost exactly the same thing. They're like the squad captains, right? And he's been assigned to investigate disappearances that's been happening on the Mugen Train. Of course, they believe that it's been demons that have been attacking this vessel. And as they mentioned, over 40 people have already gone missing, including some demon slayers that they've already sent to the train prior. So they pull out the big gun. They're like, nope, we're sending a Hashira. He's going to come. He's going to check this out. And just to be on the safe side, we sending you cats to back him up. But as our heroes shortly discover that not only were there multiple demons on said train, but for those of you all who remember the ending of season 1, we already know lower number 1 has been assigned to the Mugen Train. We also know, which we find out sometime later in the film, that, of course, all of the demons have pretty much been put on notice that if they find the demon slayer that has those earrings, be on the lookout for him, because he is public enemy number 1 right now, as far as Big Man Muzan and the rest of the demons are concerned. So both those things come to a head in this film. So that is pretty much that is pretty much the main plot of this film. It all takes place on the train. Like, the entire film story is centered there. So there actually isn't, I will tell you guys this though, and this isn't much of a spoiler at all. There isn't any setup for season 2, which was announced last year. We know season 2 is coming, but this one is just this story arc within this film. So what did I think about the film? I'm going to leave the synopsis and I'm going to leave it at there, because I don't want to give away too much of it, but I'll just go straight into my critique for you guys. So what did I think about the film? The film was freaking amazing. It was freaking amazing, like I knew it would be, like I told you guys it would be. I told y'all this was going to deliver. Like I said, Demon Slayer, that was my favorite anime of last year. Granted, I know it came out in, 2 years ago, but I'm late to the train. I was late to it, right? But when I went ahead and viewed it and reviewed it for the channel last year, you guys can go back and look at my review for that. I said that it was fucking amazing. I said it was my favorite anime from last year. I said that it was the better form of Bleach, which I stand by that. I still think Demon Slayer is a better version of that other anime. This one hits on so many levels. The characters are great. They're well developed. They're likable. You root for them. The villains are menacing. They're terrifying. They keep you on the edge of your seat. And the drama is just great. The drama is great. The stakes make sense. Escalation, power levels, all of that are in tow. Hands down, one of the best animes, specifically one of the best shonen anime out right now. It's incredible. So, and the film delivered. The film is pretty much 4 episodes of the anime, edited in a climactic way in which you get a cinematic experience. The animation is gorgeous, just like it is in the series. The music, the music is really great. Music is really great. Sound effects, everything. Everything is on point here. Everything is on point here. Okay? Everything is on point. So, all right. So, yeah, let me talk about a couple of other things that I wanted to mention. All right. So, so I will go ahead real quick, briefly, just spend some time on the plot. And what I mean by that is exactly how we know that the main story is, is all about tracking down and taking out this demon that's terrorizing this train, right? What I want to talk about more or less is sort of what the demon's plan is, right? And how the demon slayers have to pretty much plan against that, how they fight them, this, that, and the other. First off, the setting for it being on the train is really cool because essentially they're on an island, right? You're on this. And remember what we learned about characters like Inosuke, who's never even seen a train before, right? He's totally out of his element, right? But essentially it's like, so we take our characters and we put them on an island, essentially, right? Like they're not in a city, they're not in a forest, they're confined to this tight space, right? That is moving, so many miles an hour, and they're in unknown territory. Just riding the train in and of itself is dangerous, but now not only do they have to combat a demon in such an environment, but remember this too, it is a tightly confined space that's packed with civilians and bystanders. So then it's also, okay, how are we going to be able to hunt these demons? How are we going to be able to protect the civilians? And then are we even going to be able to make it to our destination safely? Like those three things very much so come into play in the film. That I like because it raises the stakes. It makes it more dangerous. It's not just a cut and dry mission of show up at a place, take out the demon and leave. Nah, it's a little bit more difficult than that, right? So that I think was a really cool job. The other thing too is I like how the demon in question, which for the record, I should have done this before. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the character list real quick because I watched the English sub. So I watched the Japanese dub with English subtitles. So I didn't necessarily catch every character's name, but Inmu, that's the demon, lower number one, Inmu, right? Even Inmu's like sort of plan I thought was really clever because what we find out is Inmu's demon blood art is pretty much the ability to put his victims to sleep and then to be able to manipulate their dreams, right? Like that's mainly what he can do. And so how he goes about essentially hunting his prey upon the train, like how he uses his abilities. Because this is not a spoiler because again, this is just what Inmu's plan is. Think of it like this. What Inmu wants to do is he wants to sort of use the train like a spider web. You know how in a spot, and not to be confused with lower number 5, the spider demon that we saw in season 1. No, but it is a funny, now that I said that out loud, it's a funny little comparison. But you notice how, what is a spider web for, right? A spider web, it's a trap that a spider uses in order to catch the flies that fly into it. And then the spider comes around, he wraps them within his webbing, and then he saves them so that he can eat them later. That's essentially what Inmu is trying to do with the train. He's trying to use the confines of the train, right, to keep everyone on board, to keep them trapped on board. But he's going to put them to sleep where they will, because that's where the term Mugen, which means infinite, that's why it's called the Mugen Train, because the idea is the train's going to be rolling. It's going to be rolling. And the whole time it's rolling, everyone's going to be asleep. No one will be the wiser. And he's just going to take his time and pick each and every human off of that train off until he's had his fill. And then he'll allow the train to go about its way. But essentially, that train is an inevitable sort of spider web for the inhabitants on board who don't know that there's a demon getting ready to pounce, right? So I'm gonna talk about that real quick. Even that plan for a character of Enmu, especially one of his stature and of his prowess, because remember, we saw his promotion to lower one at the end of season 1. So even him being able, oh, and for the record, I also appreciate that we finally got a confirmation that it was a he, because I thought Enmu was a chick this entire time. I really did. But no, it's confirmed in this film, it's actually a male. Anyway, but like even his plan, I totally dig it. I could see it working. It's pragmatic. It's very practical. And had events occurred a little bit differently in the film, he actually would have succeeded. His plan would have worked and he would have gotten away with it. I would argue the only reason his plan doesn't play out to the letter is because of the demon slayers in question on board. Because he's killed demon slayers on this train before. But because it was Tanjiro and crew this time around, well, you know, some wrenches got thrown in his plan, and he actually had to resort to some other stuff that I won't get into details on in the non-spoiler portion. But we see Enmu pretty much like use the truest, fullest extent of his power, and it's actually really freaking creepy, but really freaking cool. So all of that in terms of like that main plot structure, all of that works, right? And then in terms of what I would consider to sort of be like sub-stories, even those I work out pretty well. Because remember, we're dealing with a character that can manipulate dreams. So much like what Scarlet Witch does in Avengers Age of Ultron, right? Where we see sort of like these visions, these like dream sequences. There's a few in this film as well. Even the story around those, I think, was done pretty well too, because and not only were they done really well, but they were very informative about the characters in question. So even that I really appreciated, because we're not just some of them were just for entertainment purposes only, but another one of them was actually to inform us, the viewer, about some of the backstory and history with one of the main characters. So even that I thought was pretty cool. And then finally, real quick, I'm just going to briefly mention the finale here, because this whole conflict on this damn train and where we're leading to, as I say in the synopsis, right? It's like the train is headed for despair. The climax and ultimate finale of the film, fantastic. This film does that really good thing where it sort of gives you a false ending. And I will actually, I'm not going to make that comparison, because when people hear me make it, they're going to be like, Larry, what the hell do you mean by that? But what I'm saying is there was a surprise that we got in the finale that I certainly wasn't expecting, totally didn't see it coming. But once it actually happens, I'm like, okay, no. This is what we were waiting for. This is the main event. This is the big finale. This is the crescendo. And it delivered. It was done really, really well. But like I said, I can't talk about it too much because it is a major spoiler for the film, and I can't give that one away right here. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and segue over to characters. Okay, so what do I think about the characters in the film? Tanjiro, once again, he's our main character. He's our lead protagonist. The brother brings it again. What we do with his character, a lot of it is retread territory, just because the nature of the dream sequences we get with him, a lot of it has to do with his backstory, which we've already, if you've seen season 1, you already know most of it. While it is new material, essentially it sort of provides that same function. It provides that same role. It reminds us why Tanjiro is on this journey in the first place. The one thing I will say about his dream sequences, for those of you all who have either read For the Man Who Has Everything, or if you've seen the brief sort of animated adaptation of that story in season 3, episode 2 of Justice League Unlimited, right? For the Man Who Superman, For the Man Who Has Everything, written by it's actually, I think it actually is, yeah, it's Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, the team behind Watchmen, right? Arguably my favorite Superman story of all time. Tanjiro's dream sequence in this film is akin to that story, where essentially he's envisioning what his life would be like if he never joined the Demon Slayer Corps, right? So, and that's actually in the trailer. So that's actually not a spoiler. That's in the trailer. But yeah, what they do with that, I think, is actually pretty damn good. It's heartfelt, you feel it. And again, you know, with Tanjiro, we have that sort of like emotional bond with him. We relate to him, we root for him, we wanted to succeed. So that I think was great. What we get with Inosuke and Zenitsu is more on the comedic side with their sequences, but again, it's informative about their characters. And if you know those characters and their personalities, it actually makes a lot of sense, right? The big one is definitely Rengoku, because he's the new character that we're introduced to in this film, and his dream sequence is just backstory material. So it's stuff we didn't know before, right? But we get to see it, you know, from his POV, from his perspective, and we also get to hear him narrate, right? Like we get to hear him comment on it. So that I think is actually really good, and it informs a lot about his character, and it all makes sense. It all ties together pretty nicely. So in terms of the, you know, the four main demon slayers in this, they all did great. I will say this, if I had one sort of negative critique, Nezuko is not in the film to the degree I thought she would be. I just expected her to play a bigger part. That's my only thing. I just expected her to be more involved than she is. Because I think Nezuko doesn't pop up, I think, until halfway through the movie. So yeah, and I just thought she would be like more present, especially since the entire story takes place overnight, like in one night, right? So again, the fact that it's nighttime, that the sun is down, like I just thought she would have been around more, but that's my only thing. And then, like I say, Inmu, really cool. I will say this though, I don't think this is a spoiler because it's not in the film at all. This isn't in the film at all. So if you guys were hoping to see this, I will say it's not here. This is not where it is, and I don't know if it's in the manga, but if it is in the manga, it's not here, which means they cut it out. Okay, so here's the thing. You guys, if you're familiar with the series, you guys know that usually whenever we come across a demon, you know, when Tanjiro fights a demon or whatever, we always get that demon's backstory. We don't get a backstory for Inmu. And like I said, if it's in the manga, cool, but it's not in the film. It's not in the film. So that I was actually surprised by, because I was waiting for it. I was expecting it. And we don't get a backstory for Inmu. And I'm actually more interested in a backstory for him. But alas, we don't get one. We don't get one. There's another character that makes an appearance, but I'm going to have to wait until the spoiler portion to talk about that character. So, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the characters. And so real quick, I'm just going to kind of reiterate some comments I made earlier in terms of like the animation. Ufotable, they bring it again. This studio is blowing me away. This is what is this now? The third Ufotable production I think I've seen recently. Cause they did Fate Zero, which I reviewed last year. Demon Slayer, which I reviewed last year. And then I swear there was, what else did they do that I've seen? I swear there's another one. It's gonna come to me. But yeah, like that studio, they keep bringing it. They keep bringing it. They brought it here. It was one of the things I was most looking forward to, especially seeing it on the big screen, because as I mentioned before, like, the animate, what they do, the way in which they illustrate the breathing techniques and, you know, the swordsmanship in the series, I thought was always unique. Their use of CGI and whatnot, how they incorporate all of that into the graphics. They do it here, and man, some of the stuff they do, I mean, the animations with the train, the animation with Inmu when he like unleashes his full power, like that looks really good. And then just, dude, Rengoku, the flame Hashira, dude, when he uses his fire, oh my god, dude, it's gorgeous. Dude, this, oh my god, it oozes off the screen, bruh. It's, ooh, dude, it's, ooh, 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 ooh. You know what the animation is akin like? The animation is akin like getting some fresh beignets, like straight out of the oven at Cafe Du Monde, right? And then you got your cup of Joe, right? And then you just take that beignet and it's just covered in powdered sugar, and you dip it in the cup, and then you take that bite and the fluffiness, and it just melts in your mouth. That's what the animation looks like. So think of that analogy I just used and apply it to what your eyes experience watching this. That's exactly what the animation in this film looked like. Like beignet, fresh beignets at Cafe Du Monde, doused in powdered sugar and dipped in your favorite cup of coffee. That's what it was. Amazing. Amazing. It was amazing. Yep. Okay, so last thing I'm going to mention before I get into the spoiler portion is going to be, like I said, the music. There is an original song for this film, and oddly enough, it's not even. I think it might only be played. I know it's played during the credits, but I don't think it's played at all during the film, which I did find kind of interesting. But of course, the scores are great in this, particularly when we do the dream sequences. I mean, honestly, that's probably the best score in the movie is the dream sequence scores, Tanjiro's specifically, his dream sequence score, and then of course the main action score for most of the fights. Those are probably the two best, but there is a third score during the finale that is my favorite. And that's the one I love the most. That one I will mention more in the spoiler portion, because that one, as soon as I was like, oh, damn. And you want to talk about a mood setter? It totally sets the tone for that finale. And I'm like, yes, this is what I paid for. So, all right. So going ahead, wrapping up the spoiler-free portion, the non-spoiler portion of this review. Mugen Train, fantastic film. My favorite of 2021 so far. For me, in terms of anime film, I'm gonna be honest with you. Right now, it's a 5 out of 5 for me personally. It's a 5 out of 5 for me. Definitely one of the best shōnen anime films that I've seen in a very long time, and definitely one of the best that is based off of a popular shōnen anime. Because remember, like most films of this ilk, they're non-canonical, they're filler stories, and they're sort of like just 2-hour commercials for the anime. Or for the franchise in general, right? That's what all the DBZ films were, right? But it's all about the spectacle. It's the lure is always, you get to go and see it in the big screen, and it's usually, like a grand adventure, or it's a big scale sort of conflict, but really it's just a long, episode of the anime, or essentially that's what it's supposed to be, right? But like I said, the problem with those types of productions is they're not canonical. They don't matter. So the story doesn't matter that much. The stakes don't matter that much. We know that the main character is going to be fine at the end of it. Why? Because he still has to pop up on television this upcoming Tuesday or Wednesday, so we can continue the story and all that jazz. Mugen Train, on the other hand, no, this is canonical. This is the next chapter. This is the next story. And there is no guarantee people may or may not come out of this. You know what I mean? Like, the stakes are as high as they've ever been. And considering that the main villain is lower number 1, which means he is 7th of the 12 moons. He is arguably the number 8 most powerful demon in the series. The stakes could not be any higher for Tanjiro. This is the most powerful demon he's ever fought. Let me say that again. For those in the back, this is the most powerful demon Tanjiro has ever fought. There ain't no guarantees out here on this damn train. That is enough to put asses in the seats, get you to tune in. And I'm telling you, this has the official OAW seal of approval. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal. I highly recommend it. And no, I was not paid to say that. So go ahead, check it out. Do it. So for those of y'all hopping off for the non-spoiler portion, I want to thank you all for joining me live. Thank you all for tuning in. As always, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media, facebook.com/OAW Entertainment, twitter.com/OAWENTMT, twitch.tv/OAW_entertainment. Of course, right here, youtube.com/OAW Entertainment. And last but certainly not least, if you have a request for a film review of your choice, become a patron at patreon.com/OAW and select that blockbuster tier. All right. Are you actually, I tell you what, let me go ahead and change the banner for anybody who might be popping in late. I'm going to go, actually, you know what? That's a typo. That is not how you spell spoilers. I am going to go ahead and change the banner so that everyone knows now we are in spoiler territory, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all ready for this? All right. It's spoiler time. Let's talk about some stuff. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about some stuff, guys. All right. Mugen Train. Spoiler time. Now, I know some of you guys, hopefully y'all not on Google looking this stuff up. Hopefully you're not. I pray you guys aren't on Google looking this stuff up, because all you got to do is one Google search or one YouTube search, and the very first thing you're going to see is Rengoku death. That's the very first thing you're going to see. They made, these cats making sure that's the very first thing they spoil, right? Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about Rengoku's death real quick, okay? So, I expected Rengoku to be the one who dies at the end of the film, just because we knew it wasn't going to be our main four characters. We knew it wasn't going to be Tanjiro. We knew it wasn't going to be Nezuko. We knew it wasn't going to be Zenitsu. We knew it wasn't going to be Inosuke, right? We knew it wasn't going to be them. And seeing as how Rengoku is the new character that we're introduced in the film, it just made sense. It would be him. The other thing, too, is remember, not only is he a Hashira, but he's one of the most powerful Hashira. So that was another reason why I figured he was going to be the one to kick the bucket by the end of the film, because, again, we need to set the threat level. We need to raise the stakes, right? What I didn't expect is upper fucking 3. Okay? Akaza, I did not expect that mofo to show up. And when he showed up, Lord have mercy, Jesus. Dude, when he showed, dude, I was like, dude, I literally, like I'm sitting and I'm watching and I'm like, okay. And then as soon as he showed up, I did this. I went, oh. Upper 3, dude. That's the 4th strongest demon in the series. That's the 4th. That sucker is only behind upper 2, upper 1, and Muzan himself, right? So I'm like, dude, as soon as he showed up, I said, nope, they dead. I said, they dead. Nope, they dead. Game over. Dude, like Zenitsu says on the train, game over, man. Let me off, man. Game over, man. Yeah, when he showed up, I was like, game over. And I can't look. And can we talk about this for real? Let me know in the comments. Can we talk about this? It feels cheap, right? Like, it's like, dude, like they went through all of that trouble in order to take out Inmu, right? And then upper 3 just shows up out of freaking nowhere. And I'm like, dude, can you give us a break? I'm like, are you serious? Like, and I understand, because, like, how Inmu's powers work and, what he was able to do and whatnot, right? Like, I get that Rengoku didn't really fight during the course of the film, because he was essentially Rengoku was doing damage control, right? Like he, protect the civilians, damage control, all that jazz, right? But dude, it just felt like when Akaza showed up, I'm like, damn, dude, like stacking the deck. I was like, bro, dude, it just felt like overkill to me. It really did. And I was like, okay, yep, here we go. Decided to take out Rengoku. And of course, it takes someone that powerful to take out Rengoku, right? But dude, no, real talk. Let's talk about this. Yes, Notre Dame, yes. So number 3 pulled a Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One. Yes and no. Only on Rengoku. Everyone else survives. Everyone else lives. But Rengoku essentially sort of like sacrifices himself in that fight in order to protect everybody else, right? But still, dude, it was so overkill. And it's a good fight. And that's what I was referring to in the non-spoiler part of this review. I said, you know, the movie has a false ending because when they take out Enmu and they crash the train, right? You think that's the end of it. And then Akaza just shows up out of fucking nowhere. And then it's like, oh no, it's Rengoku. Like it's Rengoku versus Akaza. I was like, oh, this is the main event. I was like, oh. And dude, it is worth every fucking penny, dude. It was so good. It was so good. I would go as far as to say it's arguably the best fight in the series so far. I say arguably because the fight with what's his face, the spider demon, Rui, is that his name? The spider demon from the end of season 1. His fight to me was always the best fight in the series. Because that's the first time we get to see the the Hinokami Kagura, which is fire god dance, right? That's what that is. Hinokami, that's fire god, and then Kagura is a dance. So fire god dance. That was the first time Tanjiro discovered that ability or invented that ability and whatnot, right? So that I still think is the best fight in the series. Tanjiro and Nezuko versus him. But this one, I mean, dude, it's really close, man. It was a damn good fight. But yeah, man, Rengoku is just outmatched, bro. So one of the main things I want to talk about in this spoiler portion is just pretty much where the film ends and like what is the state of affairs moving into season 2, because Hashira is dead now, right? And we already established at the end of season 1, right? Like there are less Hashira, because I think, what is it? There's only 9 Hashira, right? I want to say that there are 9 Hashira. And I don't remember all their names, but just off the top of my head, right? Like this is what I do remember. There's Tomioka. There's Rengoku, right? That's the fire in the water. There's the Wind Hashira, which is the crazy dude that was beating up on Tanjiro and whatnot, right? Then you have the 2 female Hashira, right? The butterfly, and then the other one with the colorful hair, right? With the boob window, right? Okay, so that's 5. Then you have the flamboyant one, you have the monk, you have the snake dude, and you have like the child one, the really young one with the straight black hair. So that's 9. Okay, unless there's another one I'm forgetting, there's only 9 of them. We already know there were 12 of the 12 fucking moons, and yeah, like the what is it? The bottom 4 because Rui got killed. I'm pretty sure I'm getting his name right. Rui, he got killed. And then we saw Enmu get promoted, right? So the other 4, Muzan took them out. He was like, y'all too weak to cut it as you know, members of the 12 moons. Y'all gone, right? Now we can assume that he is going to replace those demons amongst their ranks. Well, shit, now he has to replace all of the lower 6, which I'm curious about too. Will he replace those lower 6, or will he just keep it vacant where it's just him in the top 6? We don't know, right? But keep this in mind too. If he does replace the lower 6, they have to be more powerful than their predecessors, right? Okay, so we're going to have a higher class of demon there. We're down one Hashira, and it's not like you can just plop another Hashira in his place because we know it takes decades to become one, right? Who the fuck is around the Demon Slayer Corps that's qualified to be one? And we also know that the Hashira that we have now are weaker than their predecessors. And remember what they said about the Upper Six. The Upper Six have killed Hashira. They've been around for centuries and they haven't been taken out. Not only haven't they been taken out, they haven't even been dethroned. They haven't even lost their position yet. So, dude, so this is what I'm saying. Like, this is why I said that this series is so good at escalation, because the manner in which they handle sort of like the power levels amongst the characters and the way in which the difficulty increases, the way in which, I know I'm spitting all over the place, right? But the way in which the just the danger level, right, and the urgency of the missions, like it just keeps climbing and climbing and climbing. It's even in the movie, like Tanjiro says, he says, every time I master one thing, another wall gets thrown in my face. And he's like, and if someone as powerful as Rengoku can get taken out like that, what chance do I have of ever excelling to that level, right? At what chance do I have of ever being strong enough to actually be able to accomplish my goal and my mission? Like the pit of despair sat in after Rengoku went down, dude. It was just like, whoa. Now, here's the thing about that though. There are two things, and these are the only two things I can legitimately be like, you know what? We still have those two. There's only two things. Two things. First thing, Nezuko. Okay. Nezuko is an outlier because not only is Nezuko a demon, but remember this, Nezuko was turned by Muzan. She has consumed some of his blood, which automatically puts her in a higher rank of demon, a higher class of demon, okay? So over time, she could potentially rival the 12 moons, just her by herself. There is the possibility she'll be able to ascend to that level. So that's number one. Oh, and then of course the thing is, she actually fights other demons, and she preserves human life. So because there is a demon that powerful who actually fights other demons, that in and of itself is a major threat to Muzan and the rest of the 12 moons. So that's number one. The second one, and the series has always talked about this as a negative, and they brought it up even in the film. The fact that Tanjiro's sword is a black blade, and they talk about it in the series. And if memory serves, this is the explanation. The reason, because remember, when Tanjiro gets the black blade, they tell him it's a cursed blade. And I think the reason for that being is because by virtue of having a black blade does not inherently lend itself to mastery of any one particular specific form of breathing. In actuality, a black blade enables its wielder to learn multiple forms, different forms, which we are already seeing Tanjiro be able to do, because Tanjiro started off learning water breathing, but yet he's developed he's developed the ability to do fire breathing, right? Now, Rengoku mentions in the film, he says, well, that's very bad luck for you, because essentially what a black blade results in is that you are a jack of all trades and a master of none. You can learn these different forms of breathing, but you'll never specialize in one enough in order to be able to become a master of it. Because that's what he says about black blade wielders. He's like, they're too finicky. They can never decide on what form of breathing to take up. And so the way the series plays it is like, that's a detriment to Tanjiro, right? Because that puts him in danger, right? I am willing to bet that will actually be the turn tide in this whole conflict, because Tanjiro has the ability to do that, him being able to perform multiple forms of breathing is going to give him that competitive edge to take some of these SOBs out. So those two things, I think, are inevitably going to be what, allows the heroes to start getting some wins, because they've been taking some L's, bruh. And let's be real about this. And this is another thing I love about the series. If you go back, so taking consideration Mugen Train, but also taking consideration Spider Mountain, okay? And I could even argue the mission right before that, dude. Tanjiro and them been getting by on luck a lot lately. They've been getting by on luck. Because remember, Tanjiro never beat Rui. That was Tomioka and O'Girl and the butterfly Hashira who did that. So they were the ones that beat him. Now I will say this though. I was very impressed that it was actually Tanjiro and Inosuke that took out Inmu. That I thought it was going to be Rengoku that took out Inmu, but it wasn't. It was actually Tanjiro and Inosuke, and that was freaking cool. That was freaking cool. I guess another thing I will mention right here in the movie is the fact that I love that Zenitsu isn't in it a lot. Because for those of y'all who remember my season 1 review, I am not a fan of Zenitsu. He is so fucking irritating to me. He is so annoying. But I loved him in this film and I think that's because he's not in it much. I think that's the big thing. He's not in it a lot. So yeah. But yeah, man, I was expecting the film to end with setting us up for season 2, and they don't do that. And I was actually surprised by that. There's no setup for season 2. Like, the film ends at the end of this mission. That's how it ends. So I am looking forward to season 2. They said it's supposed to drop later this year. I will definitely be looking forward to that. Like, yes, very much so. Very much so. Okay, so I got a few minutes left. I am just going to go ahead and hit up some of the comments that you guys have left. Let's see. We have so Notre Dame says, hang on, actually, let me blow this up. Yeah, he says, Noise, I was going to ask if I should hop on this series. Yes, go do it now. Go do it now. Actually, because I'm doing comments right now. You have my permission to end this video right now and go hop on Netflix. Go watch it right now. And Big Sam Broski, he says, is Zenitsu still as annoying as he is in the show? I just kind of answered that one. Yes, but he's not in the film as much. So it's not that big of a deal. Miss Anderson says, I definitely have a lot of questions, but Nezuko is my fave, and Inosuke is hilarious. I stumbled right there because I was reading Nezuko's name as Nezuko, and I never pronounced it like that. It's always like Nezuko. So yeah, that's just me. It's getting late, y'all. And Notre Dame says, I have only seen one episode of Demon Slayer, and it was with the drum demon with shifting rooms. That's a good place to start, but I would start from the very beginning. It's because granted, of course, for story's sake, but also you should definitely see everything that Tanjiro has to do at the start of the series in order to become a Demon Slayer in the first place. When you see the type of training and conditioning he had to do in order to just become one in the first place, you really appreciate his struggle. Like, yeah. And I did mention this one season. Yeah, season 2 is slated for later this year. Let's see. And then Notre Dame says, wait, so the movies of Demon Slayer are going to be canon of the series, assuming they continue doing so. Because who knows? So here's the thing to take in consideration with that, okay? Here's the thing to take in consideration with that. Like I said, Mugen Train, that's the seventh story arc in this series. So that means we've covered 6 story arcs just within the first season. I do not expect Demon Slayer to be a long series, because if we're covering that much territory in just 26 episodes, the series is probably not going to take that long to finish the series, because I don't think the manga's that long. So like they could probably finish the entire series in 2 more seasons. So I don't know how many more movies they'll release in that time period. So it's possible. It's possible. He says that's a big yikes when it comes to power scaling. And he also follows up. He's like, I heard the demons get stronger if they eat humans. So wouldn't she need to eat humans if she wants to get stronger? Not necessarily. And that's the interesting thing about Nezuko. But again, check out the series. And because there's an explanation for it in season 1. So go check it out. I'm not going to spoil it here, but go check it out. That does come up though, but you'll see that doesn't apply to Nezuko. Not necessarily. And you'll see why. And I see Trent's in the building, but Trent, dude, I'm getting ready to wrap up, bro. I'm getting ready to wrap up. Yeah, I'm damn near at an hour now, so I got to get ready to wrap up. All right, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I want to go ahead, take this opportunity right now to thank everybody once again for joining me live, for watching After the Fact. As always, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join me on social media, Facebook.com/OAW Entertainment. Twitter.com/OAWENTMT, Twitch.tv/OAW_entertainment, right here on YouTube.com/OAW Entertainment. And last but certainly not least, if you have a request for a film you would like to see reviewed right here on OAW Entertainment, become a patron. Patreon.com/OAW and select that blockbuster tier. All right. So, and Trent, what did Trent says? So it's with a hard G, LOL. Thanks for the pronunciation, Larry. There's an aftermarket car brand with the same name. Dude, you know what? Mugen, whichever one. I think I said both in the course of this review. I think I said Mugen and Mugen at some point. I prefer Mugen because that's the same name as that old video game from back in the day. You know, the big fighting emulator game, Mugen. So I just say Mugen because I've been saying that since I was like 12. It's very possible it's Mugen. That's probably how you pronounce it, Mugen. Because usually the J is J, not G. The J sound. So yeah, it's probably Mugen, not Mugen, but sue me. All right, so what to do? So here's the thing, real quick, while I got some of y'all still here. I'm gonna be streaming all weekend, y'all. Tomorrow night is going to be my review of Mortal Kombat. So keep an eye out for that. That is dropping tomorrow. And then Sunday is going to be the live monthly Q&A for the month of April. Yes, that is happening. So keep an eye out for that as well. So again, tomorrow night, Mortal Kombat, Sunday night, live Q&A. All right, guys, it is time for me to get on up out of here. Again, one final comment. He says, Notre Dame says, see you, Larry. I can't believe you forgot about me when I was making videos. LOL, you and Uber Hikari were the best. I forgot about you when you were making videos. I forgot about you, Notre Dame. I mean, that name sounds familiar. I know it sounds familiar. Maybe I'm forgetting the face. Maybe I'm forgetting the face. I know the name sounds familiar though. Shoot me an email, bro. Shoot me an email. And let's catch up. All right, so time for me to get out of here. Oh, and well, of course, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So it's time for me to get out of here, guys. Thanks so much for joining. Once again, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. I am signing out, and until next time, peace.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?